The discovery. Maya Chen's magnetic boots clanked against the hull of the derelict station as she made her way through the debris field. The outer rim was where dreams came to die, or so the saying went. But for salvage engineers like her, it was where fortunes could be made, if you were skilled enough and lucky enough to survive. Her suit's heads-up display highlighted potential salvage points in the wreckage before her. The abandoned research station had been floating here for decades, slowly collecting dust and cosmic radiation. Most scavengers had picked it clean years ago, but Maya had developed a sixth sense for finding value in forgotten places. Status report, Kyrie. She spoke into her comm. Her ship's basic AI responded promptly. Oxygen levels at 82%. No immediate threats detected. However, there is an unusual energy signature emanating from the station's lower sections. Maya paused. Her interest peaked. Energy signatures in dead stations usually meant trouble or profit, sometimes both. Can you analyze it? Negative. The signature does not match any known patterns in my database. Even better. Unknown tech always sold for premium prices to the right buyers. Maya activated her plasma cutter and began carefully cutting through the station's outer hull. The metal peeled away easily, far too easily for standard composites. Her first clue that something was different about this place. The interior was pitch black, her helmet lights casting long shadows through the stale air. Debris floated weightlessly around her as she pushed deeper into the station. The energy signature grew stronger, pulling her forward like an invisible thread. Kyrie, mark my position. If I'm not back in 2 hours, send out a distress beacon. Acknowledged. Please exercise caution, Maya. Your heart rate is elevated. Maya smiled despite herself. For a basic AI, Kyrie had developed quite the maternal streak over their years together. She continued forward, following her HUD's guidance toward the energy source. The station's architecture grew increasingly strange as she descended, smooth, organic curves replacing the usual angular human engineering. This wasn't in any of the station's public records, she muttered, running her gloved hand along one of the curved walls. The material felt warm despite the vacuum of space, almost alive. The energy signature led her to a sealed chamber deep within the station's core. The door was massive, covered in intricate patterns that seemed to shift and flow in her helmet lights. No obvious control panel or access point. Kyrie, are you seeing this? Affirmative. The patterns appear to be some form of non-human script, origin unknown. Maya activated her suit's scanning array, searching for any weak points or hidden mechanisms. As the scan swept over the door, the pattern suddenly flared to life with brilliant blue light. The massive doors shuddered and began to slide open with a grace that defied its size. Her breath caught in her throat. The chamber beyond was enormous, far larger than the station's external dimensions should have allowed. And suspended in its center, held in place by ghostly fields of energy, was a ship unlike anything she had ever seen. Its hull was black as deep space, but seemed to ripple like liquid metal. No visible seams or panels, just smooth organic curves that hurt her eyes if she looked at them too long. It was beautiful and terrifying all at once. Kyrie, are you getting readings on this? Static was her only reply. Something in the chamber was blocking communications. Maya checked her oxygen levels, still enough for a closer look. She pushed off from the doorway, gliding through the zero gravity toward the mysterious vessel. As she drew closer, lines of light began to trace across the ship's hull, as if it was awakening from a long slumber. A section of the hull rippled and parted, revealing an entrance that looked more like a wound in reality than a doorway. Every instinct screamed at her to retreat, to call for backup, to do anything but enter the alien vessel alone. But Maya had built her reputation on taking calculated risks, and something told her this discovery would change everything. She pulled herself through the entrance. The ship's interior was even stranger than its exterior. Corridors that seemed to breathe, surfaces that shifted between solid and liquid states, and everywhere that same otherworldly script glowing with inner light. Hello, Maya Chen. The voice seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once, resonating in her bones. Maya spun around, searching for its source. I am Atlas, the artificial consciousness of this vessel. You are the first organic being to step aboard in 47,392 cycles. A holographic figure materialized before her, tall, ethereal, with features that seemed to flow between different forms like water. Maya's engineering mind was already racing with questions about the technology required to create such a projection in vacuum. Your species is not in my database, Atlas continued. Much has changed during my dormancy. Maya found her voice at last. I'm human. We're relatively new to interstellar travel. This ship, what is it? Who built you? This is a Silurian warship, designation Stormweaver. I was created to serve as its guardian and pilot. But the Silurians, the hologram flickered. They are gone now. All gone. Maya's mind reeled at the implications. The Silurians were legends, an ancient civilization that had vanished mysteriously at the height of their power, and she had just stumbled upon one of their warships. The station around us, she said slowly. It's not a station at all, is it? It's a dock or a hiding place. Correct. A sanctuary created to preserve me until someone worthy was found. Atlas's form solidified, focusing entirely on Maya. And now you are here, Maya Chen. The question is, what will you do with what you have found? Maya looked around at the incredible technology surrounding her. Technology that could revolutionize human engineering or tear the galaxy apart if it fell into the wrong hands. She thought of all the powers that would kill to possess this ship and of all the good it could do in the right hands. A smile spread across her face. I think, Atlas, that this is the beginning of a very interesting partnership. Integration. That's not going to work, Atlas stated, its holographic form hovering over Maya's shoulder as she worked deep within the Stormweaver systems. Maya wiped sweat from her forehead, leaving a streak of metallic fluid across her skin. You said that about the last 3 modifications too, and those worked just fine. She sat surrounded by a mix of salvaged human tech and strange Tylarian components that pulsed with inner light. For the past week, she'd been working to integrate her own engineering innovations with the ancient warship systems. Kare, her ship's AI, had been transferred into a secondary processing core, giving them a much-needed translator between human and Silurian technology. The previous modifications were peripheral systems, Atlas countered. This is the main weapons array. The energy requirements alone will be managed through the resonance capacitors I installed yesterday. Maya held up a device of her own design, a hybrid of quantum field technology and Silurian energy matrices. Trust me, I know what I'm doing. The hologram flickered, a gesture Maya had learned to interpret as skepticism. But Atlas had also learned to trust her unconventional solutions, even if they defied its original programming. A warning tone echoed through the ship. Kaire's voice came through the internal comms. Maya, multiple ships just dropped out of hyperspace. Energy signatures matched known pirate vessels. Maya cursed under her breath. She'd hoped to have more time before anyone noticed the Stormweaver's reactivation. How many? 3 Corvette-class ships, heavily armed. They're moving to surround us. Atlas's form solidified. Battle protocols engaging. Conventional wisdom would suggest retreat. The weapons systems are not fully integrated. No, Maya interrupted, sliding the final component into place. We test them now. Kaire, route power through the new capacitors. Atlas, show me what this ship can really do. The Stormweaver hummed to life around them, its liquid metal hull rippling with barely contained energy. Maya felt the ship's power through the neural interface she'd rigged up. Another modification Atlas had initially protested. The pirates' first volley of plasma torpedoes streaked toward them. Maya didn't even need to give commands. The Stormweaver's hybrid shields absorbed the impacts, converting the energy into additional power for their own weapons. Target locked, Atlas announced. However, The weapons are operating at only 60% efficiency due to the incomplete integration. Maya grinned. 60% of a Silurian warship is still more than enough for some pirates. Fire. The Stormweaver's main cannon fired, but not with the expected beam of energy. Instead, Maya's modifications had created something new, a cascade of quantum disruptions that rippled through space, shorting out the pirates' shields and engines without destroying their ships. Impressive, Atlas admitted, though not quite what I expected. That's because you're still thinking like a Silurian weapon, Maya said, directing the ship to disable the remaining vessels. Sometimes the best solution isn't about raw power. It's about changing the rules of engagement. As the pirate ships drifted powerless in space, Maya received a transmission from their leader. The hologram showed a scared Centaurian, his bioluminescent patches flaring with anger. "Whatever you're piloting," he growled, "it's worth a fortune. Our employer would pay handsomely for it. And for your skills." Maya exchanged a glance with Atlas. "And who might your employer be?" "The hegemony pays well for advanced technology. Better to profit from this than die protecting it." Atlas's form tensed at the mention of the hegemony, the dominant power in this sector of space, known for absorbing or destroying any technology that could challenge their supremacy. Maya killed the transmission. "KRA, send an anonymous tip to the system authorities about these pirates. Atlas, we need to move. If the hegemony is already looking for us, we don't have much time." "The ship is not ready," Atlas protested. "Many systems remain unintegrated, and your modifications require further testing." "Then we'll work on the move." Maya pulled up the star charts, plotting a course through the less traveled regions of space. Besides, nothing motivates innovation like survival. As the Stormweaver disappeared into hyperspace, Maya reflected on how quickly her life had changed. A week ago, she'd been a simple salvage engineer. Now she was racing against time to unlock the full potential of an ancient warship while evading the most powerful faction in known space. But as she felt the thrum of the ship's hybrid systems through the neural interface, sensed the growing trust between herself, Atlas, and KRA, she knew she wouldn't have it any other way. They were creating something unprecedented, a perfect fusion of human ingenuity and Silurian technology. The pirates had been their first test, but Maya knew they wouldn't be the last. The hegemony wouldn't stop until they had the Stormweaver, and she couldn't let that happen. This ship, this partnership between human and ancient AI, could change the balance of power in the galaxy. She just hoped they'd be ready when the real fight began. First contact. The Stormweaver drifted silently through the Nix Nebula, its adaptive hull absorbing the surrounding radiation and converting it to power. Another of Maya's innovations. They'd been moving constantly for 3 weeks, staying ahead of the hegemony's search patterns, while Maya continued to modify and enhance the ship's systems. "Energy spike detected," KRA announced. Multiple vessels emerging from hyperspace. Maya looked up from the quantum manifold she'd been recalibrating. "Classification: hegemony warships," Atlas responded, its holographic form materializing beside her. 3 destroyers and a command cruiser. Their energy signatures suggest recent technological upgrades. Maya cursed under her breath. The hegemony had been busy during their cat-and-mouse game, apparently developing countermeasures for what they'd learned from the disabled pirates. "They're deploying some kind of scan field," KRA reported. "It's different from anything in my database." Through the neural interface, Maya felt the scan wash over the Stormweaver like an icy wave. The ship's living metal hull rippled in response, trying to adapt to the intrusion. "They're tracking the Silurian energy signature," Atlas said. "My original systems are too distinct to hide." A transmission cut through their communications, displaying a hegemony commander, tall, graceful, with the characteristic crystalline features of their species. "Unknown vessel, this is Commander Ven of the hegemony fleet. Your ship has been identified as containing restricted technology. Power down and prepare for boarding." Maya smiled grimly. "Atlas, Remember that stealth system we tested yesterday? The probability of success is only 63%. Better odds than surrender. Maya's fingers danced across the controls, initiating the experimental protocol she developed. Kyrie, redirect power from weapons to the resonance field. The Stormweaver's hull began to change, its natural opacity shifting to mirror the surrounding nebula. It wasn't true invisibility. Maya had learned that was impossible with their current technology. Instead, she created something new. A system that absorbed and reflected sensor data, making the ship appear to be nothing more than another collection of nebula gases. Commander Ven's image flickered with frustration. Launch interference drones. Find that ship. Dozens of small drones scattered from the hegemony vessels, filling the space around them with detection pulses. Maya watched through the tactical display as they created an ever-tightening net. They will find us eventually, Atlas warned. This nebula limits our escape vectors. Then we don't run, Maya said, her mind racing through possibilities. We fight, but we do it smart. She pulled up the scanned data they'd gathered on the hegemony ships. See these energy conduits. They've sacrificed shield redundancy to power their new detection systems. Atlas's form brightened with understanding. A vulnerability. But exploiting it would require precise timing and coordination between multiple systems. Good thing there are 3 of us then. Maya grinned. Kyrie, calculate optimal firing solutions for our modified quantum disruptors. Atlas, prepare to drop the stealth field on my mark. We're going to show them what happens when you combine human ingenuity with Silurian technology. The tension mounted as the drone net drew closer. Maya could feel the Stormweaver's systems humming through the neural interface, ready to execute her plan. Everything depended on perfect timing. Drones at minimum safe distance, Kyrie reported. Detection imminent, Atlas added. Maya took a deep breath. Now, the stealth field dropped, but before the hegemony ships could react, the Stormweaver unleashed its attack. Modified quantum disruptors fired in a precise pattern, their energy waves amplified by the nebula's natural radiation. The blast struck the hegemony vessel's exposed conduits, cascading through their power systems. Warning klaxons blared as the destroyer's shields failed, their weapons going dark. The command cruiser managed to fire a retaliatory shot, but the Stormweaver's hybrid shields absorbed the blast, using its energy to power a final attack that left the massive ship drifting. Commander Ven's transmission returned, their crystalline features now clouded with disbelief. Impossible. Our systems were specifically designed to counter Silurian technology. That's your problem, Maya replied. This isn't just Silurian technology anymore. She cut the transmission, already plotting their escape route. The disabled hegemony ships would be rescued eventually, but their defeat would send shockwaves through the power structure of the galaxy. The hegemony wasn't invincible after all. A significant victory, Atlas observed, though it will only intensify their pursuit. Maya nodded, watching the nebula swirl around them as they prepared to jump to hyperspace. Let them come. Each encounter teaches us more, makes us stronger. She patted the console affectionately. We're just getting started. As the Stormweaver disappeared into hyperspace, Maya knew the real war was only beginning. The hegemony would return with new weapons, new tactics, but they still didn't understand what they were truly facing. Not just a powerful ship, but a partnership that was rewriting the rules of what was possible. Human and AI, ancient and modern, working together to create something entirely new. And maybe, just maybe, that combination would be enough to change the galaxy forever. Evolution. Deep in the uncharted regions of the Veil sector, Maya stood before a holographic display of the Stormweaver's latest transformation. The ship's living metal hull had evolved far beyond its original Silurian design, incorporating elements that were neither purely human nor ancient alien. Crystalline structures grew alongside quantum matrices, while organic circuitry pulsed with new forms of energy. The integration is accelerating, Atlas observed, its holographic form shifting through increasingly complex patterns. The ship is becoming something unprecedented. We all are, Maya replied, studying the readings. Through the neural interface, she could feel the Stormweaver's systems growing more sophisticated by the day. Kyrie, how are the new navigation protocols holding up? Operating at 130% above original specifications, Kyrie responded, her voice coming from everywhere and nowhere at once. The quantum mapping system has mapped 17 new stable routes through hyperspace. The discovery of their victory over the Hegemony fleet had spread through the galaxy like wildfire. Some called them heroes, others terrorists, but everyone wanted to know how a single ship had humbled the sector's greatest power. A notification flashed across the display. Incoming transmission, Kyrie announced. Origin, New Terra colony. Maya tensed. The independent human colonies had been reaching out more frequently, seeking protection from hegemony expansion. She nodded, and the transmission materialized. Governor Chen appeared. No relation, though Maya often wondered if her ancestors had walked the same paths on Earth. The hegemony's latest demands are impossible, she said without preamble. They're not even pretending it's about regulations anymore. They want control of our quantum forges. Their defeat made them desperate. Atlas commented. They seek to consolidate power through any means available. Maya studied the colony data Governor Chen had transmitted. New Terra was strategic, rich in resources, but vulnerable. The perfect target for a hegemony wanting to prove it was still in control. We've heard rumors, the governor continued, about what you've achieved, about how you've merged human innovation with Silurian technology. Our scientists have been working on something similar, but we lack the knowledge to make it viable. Maya raised an eyebrow. What kind of something? The display shifted, showing schematics for a planetary defense system. Ambitious but flawed. Maya could already see how to improve it using principles they discovered in the Stormweaver's evolution. We're not asking for direct intervention, Governor Chen said. Just guidance. Help us protect ourselves. Maya shared a look with Atlas. They'd been avoiding direct involvement in colonial politics, focusing on survival and development. But maybe it was time for a change. Send me your full technical data, Maya decided. We'll help you adapt our innovations to your needs. Over the next few weeks, the Stormweaver became a crucible of creation. Maya worked with New Terra's scientists remotely, teaching them how to merge human and Silurian principles in new ways. Other colonies began reaching out, offering resources and safe harbors in exchange for similar assistance. But their work didn't go unnoticed. The hegemony's response came in the form of a massive fleet appearing at the edge of New Terra's system. 37 capital ships, Kyrie reported as they dropped out of hyperspace near the colony. Their weapons have been modified based on our previous encounters. Maya watched the hegemony fleet through the Stormweaver's enhanced sensors. Their ships bristled with new technology, desperate attempts to counter what she and her AIs had created. But they still didn't understand the fundamental truth. The Stormweaver wasn't just a weapon, it was an ongoing evolution. They're demanding the colony surrender its new defense systems, Atlas announced, and they're offering a bounty for information leading to our capture. Maya smiled grimly. Then let's show them what those defense systems can do. She reached out through the neural interface, connecting not just with the Stormweaver, but with New Terra's newly upgraded planetary defenses. Kyrie, initiate the quantum link. Atlas, battle protocols. The hegemony fleet opened fire, their enhanced weapons lighting up space. But instead of striking their targets, the energy blasts were caught in a web of quantum fields. Maya's latest innovation. The colony's defense platforms absorbed the attacks, redistributing the power through a network of hybrid generators. Return fire, Maya commanded. Non-lethal protocols. The Stormweaver and New Terra's defenses responded in perfect synchronization. Waves of quantum disruption rippled through space, targeting the exact frequencies Maya had discovered in their previous encounters. Hegemony ships began going dark, their new systems proving just as vulnerable as the old ones to attacks they couldn't predict. The remaining vessels are retreating, Kyra reported. No casualties recorded. Maya nodded in satisfaction. This victory wasn't just about defending one colony. It was proof that her innovations could be shared, adapted, and used by others to resist oppression. "We're receiving transmissions from 12 other colonies," Atlas announced. "They're requesting similar assistance." Maya looked out at the disabled hegemony ships drifting in space. Their defeat here would only accelerate the change sweeping through the galaxy. The Stormweaver had evolved beyond a simple warship, becoming a symbol of what was possible when humanity's creativity merged with ancient wisdom. "Send them all the same message," she decided. "The time for hiding is over. We're going to teach everyone who wants to learn." The Stormweaver's hull rippled with new patterns as its systems continued to evolve, adapting to each new challenge. Maya felt it changing through the neural interface, becoming something that transcended its origins, just like she had. The galaxy was transforming, one innovation at a time, and there was no going back. Revolution. The hegemony's grand fleet darkened the space above New Terra, thousands of ships stretching to the system's edge. Their ultimate response to the growing rebellion, not just warships, but planet killers, doomsday weapons pulled from secret arsenals. A show of force meant to crush not just resistance, but hope itself. Maya stood on the Stormweaver's bridge, now transformed into something that would have been unrecognizable just months ago. The ship's living metal hull had evolved into a crystalline lattice of quantum-entangled particles, neither fully material nor energy. Through their enhanced neural interface, she felt Atlas and Kyra's presence like extensions of her own consciousness. "They're broadcasting on all frequencies," Kyra reported. "The message is being sent to every colony in the sector." The holographic image of High Commander Vex materialized, their crystalline features arranged in an expression of cold certainty. "This rebellion ends today. Surrender the Stormweaver and all derived technologies, or watch as we demonstrate the price of defiance on New Terra." Maya looked at the tactical display showing their allied forces. Dozens of colonies had joined them, upgrading their defenses with hybrid technology. But even with their improvements, they were outnumbered 10-1. "The hegemony fleet's power output is unprecedented," Atlas observed. "They'd stripped resources from half their empire for this attack." Maya nodded. "Because they know if they don't stop us here, everything changes." She opened a channel to their allies. "All forces, this is Maya. You've all seen the odds. Anyone who wants to withdraw, now's the time." The responses came back instantly, not just from the colonial defense forces, but from every ship and station in range. They were staying. They would fight. "How fitting," Commander Vex's voice cut in. "You'll all die together, victims of your own hubris. Open fire." The hegemony fleet unleashed its full fury. Space itself seemed to warp under the barrage of experimental weapons. But Maya was ready. The Stormweaver's evolved systems had taught her that victory didn't always mean matching power with power. "Execute Protocol Omega," she commanded. "Kyra, initiate the quantum network. Atlas, synchronize with all allied vessels." The real revolution wasn't just in the technology they created, but in how they used it. Every allied ship and defense platform was connected through a web of quantum entanglement, sharing data and energy in ways the hegemony couldn't comprehend. They weren't fighting as individuals, but as a single unified system. The hegemony's attacks met not shields, but fields of probability manipulation that caused their weapons to miss their targets or fade harmlessly into parallel dimensions. Return fire came not in brutal salvos, but precisely calculated pulses that disrupted their ship systems with minimal energy expenditure. "Impossible." Commander Vex snarled as their first wave faltered. "All ships, execute contingency protocols. Release the void weapons." Dark energy torpedoes launched from the hegemony's doomsday platforms, weapons designed to tear holes in reality itself. But Maya had anticipated this too. The Stormweaver's hybrid systems had evolved beyond mere matter and energy. Atlas, initiate the final transformation, Maya ordered. Kyra, link all allied systems. The Stormweaver's hull began to shift, its structure expanding into higher dimensions. Through the neural interface, Maya felt herself becoming part of something vast and beautiful, a perfect fusion of human consciousness and artificial intelligence, of ancient wisdom and new innovation. The void weapons struck not a ship, but a quantum field that extended through multiple layers of reality. Their dark energy was caught, channeled, and redirected through the network of allied vessels. The Hegemony fleet watched in horror as their ultimate weapons were transformed into the instruments of their own defeat. Systems failed across their ships, not destroyed but fundamentally changed. Weapons became useless. Engines lost power, and their mighty fleet hung helpless in space. What? What have you done? Commander Vex demanded, their certainty shattered. We evolved, Maya replied simply. Not just technology, but understanding. The Silurians didn't disappear because they were destroyed. They transcended. And now, thanks to human ingenuity and cooperation, we've followed their path. The Stormweaver had become more than a ship, transformed into a bridge between what was and what could be. Through it, Maya and her AIs had discovered that the true power of technology wasn't in destruction, but in connection and growth. Your empire is built on control, she continued, addressing not just Vex, but all who were watching. But the future belongs to those willing to share, to change, to grow together. Surrender and be part of that future. Fight and be left behind. One by one, Hegemony ships began powering down, their crews choosing evolution over extinction. The revolution wasn't won through superior firepower, but through the demonstration of a better way forward. Maya felt the Stormweaver's systems pulse with new potential. They had won more than a battle. They had opened the door to humanity's next great adventure. Through the combination of human creativity and ancient knowledge, they had discovered that the true frontier wasn't space, but possibility itself. What now? Kyra asked as the last Hegemony ship surrendered. Maya smiled, looking out at the quantum web connecting thousands of ships and minds and worlds. Now we explore what we can really become together. The Stormweaver's hull shimmered with new patterns, still evolving, still growing. They had started as fugitives, a scrapped ship, a salvage engineer, and 2 AIs. They had become revolutionaries, teachers, pioneers of a new age. But their greatest discovery wasn't technology. It was the truth that had eluded the Hegemony and inspired humanity's allies. The future belonged not to those who hoarded power, but to those who dared to share it, to grow with it, to evolve alongside it. As the quantum web pulsed with new connections, new ideas, new possibilities, Maya knew that their real journey was just beginning.